Did you know over 30,000 people in the United States are living their daily lives with cystic fibrosis? 1 in 10 are in which diagnosed before or soon after birth. This topic should be important to you as cystic fibrosis is one of the most common life-threatening genetic diseases out there. Cystic fibrosis is a quickly progressing disease that causes lung infections and limits one's ability to breathe over time, in which the lungs just slowly quit doing their job. To illustrate this, we will be going over what cystic fibrosis is, how it can affect one's daily life, and what some of the treatments can be. To begin, it is an inherited disorder in which causes major damage to the lungs, digestive system, and other organs throughout the body. It affects the cells that produce sweat, mucus, and digestive juices in a normal person, but these juices would be slippery and thin, but in a person with cystic fibrosis, they become thick and sticky. People with cystic fibrosis usually inherit it from the parents, and in order to inherit it, both parents have to carry the cystic fibrosis gene. So, for example, I'm a carrier of cystic fibrosis. So, if I were to have a child with someone who also was a carrier, we could have a very high chance of having a child with cystic fibrosis. Next, cystic fibrosis can have a big effect on someone's day-to-day life. People who have cystic fibrosis should always avoid being close to others who have it, as the bacteria in the lungs, in each person's lungs, is different. Some people, it can affect the digestive system and make it hard for them to gain weight. So it can make one smaller than everyone else around them or all the kids their age and make it hard for them to gain weight, even though they could eat all the time. It can also affect many males' reproductive organs, in which many cannot have kids. And lastly, we will talk about a treatment plan for cystic fibrosis. So some may be on medications, pills, constant daily medicines that help anti-inflammatory to lessen the swelling in the airway of the lungs, antibiotics to avoid lung infections, mucus thinning. The list goes on. There's so many, and it's almost like someone's life would have to revolve around taking pills. They also have another one called vest therapy, in which the person with cystic fibrosis would wear a vest, and it vibrates really, really fast and hard to help loosen up the mucus that is in the chest and lungs and make it easier for that to break down and everything. And another option could be lung transplant for those who have life-threatening lung complications. Even though it's not a cure, the antibodies are different and the new lungs keep the bacteria out of the lungs you have. So even though you get a lung transplant, it doesn't mean you don't have cystic fibrosis anymore. Like, you still live with it, but it's just your lung function gets better. You can breathe again. Um, it's it's not a cure. It's just it helps. In conclusion, even though there are treatments, like I said, one being a lung transplant, it does not mean it cures one that has it. They live with it for the rest of their lives. People who have cystic fibrosis are still able to live normal like others. They can play sports, they can be active, because it always helps keep that cystic fibrosis at bay where it's detainable. You can breathe still breathe, but it always helps to stay active. Cystic fibrosis can do a lot of damage to the body. My uncle who has it, before he got his double lung transplant 2 years ago, he had lungs that were only working 12%. And now to this day, today, his lungs are working 115%. So, that being said, you never know how cystic fibrosis can really affect someone until you learn and do your research about it. So, thank you.